Hello, Namaskar and Adab to all my friends from your friend astrologer and guide Irfan once more with you from your very own channel Astro Assurance. Today's video is a very important video because we are going to today talk about the placement of the Lagna Lord in the 12 houses in the D9 chart in the Navmansh chart, and what are the areas which will be in focus, what are the probabilities it will bring to you, what are the results it will bring to you. Because I have said this in many of my earlier videos as well, that the D1 chart, the Lagna chart gives you possibilities, but the D9 chart, the Navmansh chart gives you probabilities, which means what is more probable to happen, especially if you leave it to the default taking over, the zodiac taking over, rather than you trying to make something possible in with your own attempt, with your own enterprise. Now before that, a request to everyone, whoever is watching this channel, and if you find my videos are helpful, they answer some questions in your life and you are able to profit from the experience of watching these videos, then please help that others may also benefit from these videos by virtue of you subscribing to my channel and liking these videos, because then YouTube further promotes these videos and my channel. So add some positive karma to yourself by subscribing to my channel if you have not done that, pressing the bell notification, and by liking this video and sharing this video. Now on to the topic for today. I have earlier on also made videos specifically connected to the D9 chart, where I have explained that the 4 Kendra houses in your D9 chart, in your Navmansh chart, the 4 Kendra energies or the signs of the 4 Kendra houses, they control all the other houses in your horoscope, specifically connected to your D9 chart, which means whichever sign rules your Lagna will also have the same sign energies controlling the 5th and the 9th house. I am not saying that if it's a fire sign, then fire signs will control the 5th and the 9th house. That is obvious. I am saying that if Aries is controlling the Lagna, by virtue of that being the Lagna in the D9 chart, then Leo and Sagittarius will not be prominent energies of the 5th and the 9th house, which should actually be the Aries energy itself, which is ruling the Lagna, will also rule the 5th house and the 9th house to a large extent. Similarly, the 4th house sign, whichever rules the 4th house sign, will also rule the 8th house sign or the 8th house and the 12th houses. Specifically, the 10th house sign, whichever is the sign of the 10th house, will also be ruling the houses of the 2nd house and the houses of the 6th house. And the 7th house, whichever sign rules the 7th house, that sign will also have a prominent role to play in the 11th house and the 3rd house in the D9 chart. So keep this in mind, because these specific sign energies will manifest and be more prominent in playing a role in manifestation of those houses. So now, what does the placement of the Lagna Lord in your D9 chart mean, and how does it manifest? Now the placement of the D9 chart talks about what is the main focus of your life connected to that area where your Lagna Lord is placed. So basis that, not only will that focus be, those areas will also be in prominence, but that connection will also serve you, that connection will also be prominent to you, and most of your achievements of life will also come from that area, and you will be able to do most from wherever your Lagna Lord is placed, in which house, keeping in mind where the Lagna Lord in the D1 chart is placed. So keep this in mind, the connection of where the D9 Lagna Lord is placed and how the D1 Lagna Lord is placed, and what are the energies that they are relating to. So let's jump into understanding what the Lagna Lord in the 12 houses in the D9 chart, in the Navmansh chart means. So the presence of the Lagna Lord in the 1st house in the D9 chart means those factors which are most prominent in your life connected to the Lagna. And so the areas of focus will be the self, and how you are using yourself to be able to do or create influence in the society, how you are able to achieve, and what areas we will be able to profit from by virtue of your own experiences, by virtue of your own enterprise, by virtue of your own effort, because here the Lagna is in focus. So the Lagna is permanent and the Lagna Lord is placed in that, which means very, very strong strength given to the Lagna by default by the zodiac itself, because here the Lagna Lord is placed in the Lagna itself and in the D9 chart, the most finest element of that. So such a person is a person who is self-made. This person works more on his or her own enterprise and is a person who will lead from the front. This person will less depend on others for most results in their life and will also be able to help others. This person is more independent of thinking of others. It's not that this person will not be able to take advice from others, will not be able to take inputs from others. This person may listen to others, may take inputs from others, may also take advice from others, but this person to a large extent will be someone who acts on their own. If something is not able to satisfy them, if they are not able to relate to something, then such a person may take a back seat where decisions related to that area is concerned. This is also a person where the focus is on self-improvement. The zodiac is telling you that the most important area of your life, the finest area of your life connected to your karma, is to be able to work on yourself, to correct yourself, to improve yourself, to take responsibility on yourself. And rather than giving the responsibility to others or trying to get others to do something, you should take the lead in being able to not only drive results in your life but also be able to do more for others. So here the correction is on self, the focus is on self, to be able to not only correct yourself, to be able to take responsibility, but to do for others, and mostly through your self enterprise without depending on others. So independence rather than interdependence is the key here. You will find that most of the areas of life that you need to cope with, that you need to deal with, and where you will be able to profit from, all those will be related to your self enterprise, your self help, rather than others. And only through this you will be able to attain status in society, you will be able to attain a certain stature in society, and through that, by focusing on yourself, by correcting yourself, by improving yourself, by working hard to be able to raise yourself in society, through that you will be able to profit from. Those will be your biggest achievement. So the biggest achievement that you will find will be basis how you improve yourself and you take the responsibility for achievement in life, whichever area of life you are connected to, specifically related to your karma, your career, your relationships. Now wherever the Lagna Lord is placed in your D1 chart, in your Lagna chart, see how that they are connected to each other, which means if your Lagna Lord is placed in the Lagna in the D9 chart but goes and gets placed in the 5th house in the Lagna chart, here it means that you need to do more self-improvement connected to the 5th house, where the Lagna Lord is placed in the D1 chart. So your most self-improvement will be how you are able to cope with challenges or changes to your career, because the 5th house is also the 8th to the 10th house. How you are able to deal with children, and how you are able to take certain risks in life and be able to raise good progeny and give back to society good offspring through your children. And through that connection between the D1 Lagna Lord, whichever house it is placed in the Lagna chart, and the placement of the Lagna Lord in the D9 chart in the Lagna itself, through that manifestation, the deeper meaning, a deeper understanding of the Lagna Lord's placement will come to you. And that is the meaning of the Lagna Lord placed in the Lagna itself in the D9 chart. Now the placement of the Lagna Lord in the D9 chart when it gets into the 2nd house. The 2nd house is the house of nourishment also, food also, which you are able to intake. The nourishment that you give to your body, the nourishment you are also able to give your mind. And through that, how you are able to grow in life, how you are able to do more in life, and through that, by able to nourish your body and your soul, you are also able to attain a certain livelihood. You are also able to attain a certain earning in your life. So the focus will be on what you are able to attain, where you will be able to get material success as well as spiritual success in life. Now because it is the 2nd house, so the areas of the second house will be more prominent, which means the biggest challenges to life will come through the second house, but the biggest opportunities in life may also come through the second house itself and the areas connected to the second house. So here the most prominence will be how or what will be in question, what will be in focus will be your principles and values, your ability to be being headstrong in your principles and values, not diverting from your beliefs, not diverting from what values you are raised with, and giving back to society, and also doing more for the tribe, helping others to find their livelihood also. And that will be an achievement, the biggest achievement for you. This is a good connection or good placement of the Lagna Lord in the second house, because through that you will be able to attain both the material success, you will also be able to get a good livelihood, you will also be able to attain success in giving back to your community, to your tribe also, and be also able to help others to find that nourishment, others also to be able to find a good livelihood. So good placement of achievement both from the material perspective and from a principles and values connection is this placement. Now wherever the Lagna Lord is placed in the Lagna chart, that should be related to your placement of the Lagna Lord in the D9 chart to the second house, which means that if the Lagna Lord in the D1 chart is placed in the 10th house, whereas in your D9 chart, in your Navmansh chart, it is placed in the second house. So here it means that you have a strong ability to be able to get good livelihood connected to your career, connected to your karma, which means the better your karma, the better your effort at work, the better livelihood you will be able to get, the more profit, the more you will profit from that experience, the more you will profit from doing good karma, from doing good actions and working and focusing on your career. And that is the meaning of the placement of the Lagna Lord in the second house in the Navmansh chart, in the D9 chart. Now the placement of the Lagna Lord in the third house in the D9 chart, in the Navmansh chart, what does this mean? The third house is more about how you are able to convey a message, how you are able to influence others, how you are able to market yourself, how you are able to reach out to others, how you are able to communicate with others. And now this is most sharply in focus because it is in the Navmansh chart. So the strongest focus in your life is how you are able to communicate, how you are able to reach out to people, how you are able to market yourself, and how you are able to influence. So here, to be able to influence others, you should also be ready to be influenced when the Lagna Lord is placed in the third house, which means the ability to listen to others, to communicate with others, going to their level of understanding, and through that being able to imbibe information and also use that learning, that understanding to be able to influence others. So first listen to others, understand others, and then be able to also influence others in return. So the biggest challenge for you is when you are trying to teach others, the first step for you is to learn. And here the learning is through how much you are ready to work hard on your ability to connect with others. So the strongest connection that you will be able to find, the strongest relation you will be able to find is through your communication skills, because the placement of the Lagna Lord in the Navmansh chart is more about connections. That's why to some extent the Navmansh chart is also called as the relationship chart, and maybe even the marital relationship chart. So here this is the D9 chart, the Navmansh chart is all about connections. So when the Lagna Lord in the D9 chart gets connected to or gets placed in the third house, the strongest connection you will be able to make through to people is through your communication skills, through your ability to influence others. So you need to work hard on your communication skills, to be a good listener, to be able to understand other people, and to work with a lot of hard work with self-enterprise. Here you will not be given any success on a platter. It is up to you how you are able to work hard to be able to get through your self-enterprise the success. So this is the strong placement where the zodiac is telling you that the more you are able to work hard on your ability to connect, the better success you will get, and the strongest achievements in life and the strongest tribulations in life all will be related to the areas of the third house. So communication will be a key. Communication may also be a drawback. Communication may also sometimes lead to misunderstandings, misconnections, missed opportunities. But the more you work on it, the more you take upon yourself to be able to influence others, market yourself, whatever you are doing in life, whichever job you are connected to, whichever career you are connected to, but in general, your ability to influence will be your greatest success story when the Lagna Lord is placed in the third house in the D9 chart. Now, wherever your Lagna Lord is placed in your D1 chart, in your Lagna chart, how that is getting connected to the third house placement in the D9 chart is important. So, for example, if in your D1 chart, in your Lagna chart, if the Lagna Lord is placed in the fifth house, getting connections or making connections to your children or to those people who you have a romantic relationship with, and developing your communication better and your ability to take larger risks, stronger risks is the essence when the Lagna Lord in the D1 chart is placed in the fifth house and the Lagna Lord in the D9 chart is placed in the third house. So your ability to take risks through understanding, through learning, through being able to influence others, and readiness to learn, and the readiness to make investments through deep understanding and being able to sell to others, especially where changes in your career are connected, turbulations in your career are connected, is the deeper and finer meaning of the connection between the Lagna Lord placement in the D1 chart and the Lagna Lord placed in the third house in the D9 chart. Now, the placement of the Lagna Lord in the D9 chart in the fourth house. The placement of the Lagna Lord in the D9 chart in the fourth house is about what you are being given to guard and what will guard you in return, what will protect you in return, what will nourish you in return, and what you are supposed to protect, guard and nourish. And this will be the most important factors in your life. These will be the most important areas of focus in your life. This is what you will have to cope with most, this is what you will have to deal with most, and this is what you will also profit from most. So the areas of the fourth house will be most prominent in your life. So the deepest connections which the Navmansh chart represents, your deepest connection will be to the placements of, to the areas of the fourth house and to the relations connected to the fourth house. So your mother, family, children, spouse, and anyone and everyone who lives with you in your home become important to you, and those connections will be the most important connections to you. These will also be the most trying places for you, and you will find that every now and then your biggest challenges may also come from the fourth house results, trying to make assets, trying to cope or have a more peaceful environment in the house, have a more happiness environment in the house. However, if you are able to do that, if you are able to cope with the pressures, the challenges, the expectations of the fourth house, you are able to guard it, you are able to protect it, you are able to nourish it, then in turn you will find the zodiac also helps you to build assets. The zodiac also guards you, the zodiac also protects you, and your biggest achievements can get connected to the fourth house, having more peace at home, having a more loving atmosphere at home, building assets, and also working out of home, or something connected to the real estate, something connected to family, something connected to making other people's lives better. Now, where your Lagna Lord is placed in the D1 chart and how it connects to the placement of the Lagna Lord in the Navmansh in the fourth house is important. So, for example, if your Lagna Lord in the D1 chart is placed in the 11th house, whereas in the D9 chart, in the Navmansh chart, it is placed in the fourth house. So here it means your deepest connections will come how your domestic life is able to cope with, and you are able to balance it with external environment, with the social environment, and how you are able to build your assets, and how you are able to build more happiness, more peace in your home, through how you are able to use your external network, your extended network, and how you are able to do more for society outside. So when you are able to do more for social causes outside, when you are able to take larger responsibilities, then the zodiac will also help you to do better in your home front, also in your domestic life, also to build more assets, also to have larger material gains in life. And that is how you should be able to connect the placement of the Lagna Lord in the fourth house in the D9 chart with the placement of the Lagna Lord in the D1 chart in the Lagna chart. Now the placement of the Lagna Lord in the D9 chart in the fifth house. Here it means that the factors which will be most prominent in your life will all be related to the fifth house. the areas which will be in most focus in your life, which you will have to cope with most, what you will have to deal with most, and where you may profit from most, and where you may face most tribulations from, the biggest challenges also from, will all be or mostly connected to those connected to the fifth house. So those areas will be prominent in your life which are related to your romantic life, how you are able to cope with your romantic liaisons. And this is not only about when you are dating somebody, when you are a youngster, when you are a teenager, but this is also about later in life, when you're married, because your romance does not cease when you get married. The romance continues. So your ability to be able to showcase romance, to showcase to somebody that you desire them, that you value them, that you want them, that you need them, even when there may not be a strong connection through a legal relationship or later, that will be of prominence. Second, how you are able to raise good children, what values you are able to give to your children, and how much you are ready to learn in life, because the fifth house is also about learning, and how you are able to take risks and cope with the turbulations in life, turbulations in your career, because the fifth house is the 8th house to the 10th house. So every now and then you may be tested, where your career may go through ups and downs, your investments may go through ups and downs, your relationships may also go through ups and downs, and how you are able to cope with what your children may need, freedom from you, needs from you, that will be the focus of your life. So your biggest challenges may also come from your fifth house, but the biggest achievements will also come from your fifth house. You will be able to do very well in your investments in your life if you are able to cope with those challenges. You may also be able to get a lot of romance, and also may be loved back enough if you are able to show a strong connection to your loved ones also, and you are able to nourish them. You are able to show them that you truly value them and you desire them, and you are able to make them feel special. Now, wherever your Lagna Lord in your D1 chart is placed, how it relates to the fifth house placement in the D9 chart is important. So if your Lagna Lord is placed, for example, in the 12th house in your D1 chart, in your Lagna chart, whereas it is placed in the fifth house in the D9 chart, in your Navmansh chart, it shows that your biggest gains may also come from foreign lands, but your biggest upheavals in your career may also be connected to hard work, and a lot of your efforts may also not bear fruits easily, which means to be able to cope with ups and downs in your career, you will have to work hard so that your work is appreciated and recognized and your efforts don't go to waste. Secondly, you may also have to cope with expenses, high expenses, and not having unreasonable thoughts, unreasonable plans, but be able to do more for others, especially those who are in a problem, or your career may be connected to foreign lands, your career may be connected to working for foreign companies, your career may also be connected to more isolated places or even working alone, and that will be the essence of your life, because your Lagna Lord in the Navmansh chart is placed in the 5th house. Now when your Lagna Lord in your D9 chart, in your Navmansh chart is placed in the 6th house, the D9 chart 6th house is a prominent place for you in your life, because your Lagna Lord in your D9 chart has now gone into the 6th house. So this is a primary focus for you in your life, because the most finest placement of your Lagna Lord in the D9 chart has gone into the 6th house. So these are the areas which you'll have to cope with most, deal with most, also profit from most after you have gone through the issues, the challenges, the problems that the 6th house is throwing at you. How you are able to deal with competition, how you are able to deal with people who work behind your back, how you are able to deal with people who are working below you, how you are able to connect with people who work below you and work for you, because the D9 chart is about connections, about relationships, and this is not only about your relationship in your married life, but what connections you are able to make with people connected to the house where your Lagna Lord is placed in your D9 chart. So the 6th house placement shows that karma related to service is very important. There is a karmic debt for you to be able to do more for others who work for you, those who are destitute in life, and be able to give back most to them. And this will be the biggest challenge, because the finest dissemination of the Lagna Lord is by virtue of its being placed in the 6th house in your D9 chart. However, If you are able to do it, then your biggest achievements may also come through your service, your ability to serve others, your ability to do more for others. This may or may not be connected to your career, to your job, but it could also be connected to how you are able to work with people who are working below you, or how you are able to cope with competition, even competitive exams, and overcome those challenges and then do very well in life. Now, the placement of the Lagna Lord in the D1 chart and how it relates to the placement of the 6th house placement of the Lagna Lord in the D9 chart will be important. If the Lagna Lord is getting placed in the 9th house in your D1 chart, whereas it is in the 6th house in the D9 chart, this means that a lot of service of yours may be connected to higher learning or imparting learning. So first, how much you are able to imbibe in your life through those challenges, the higher learning that you get, and through that being able to serve others more, and also be able to get to serve better through higher learning, higher degrees, higher qualifications, maybe traveling far away from your place of birth also, and the ability to work with different people from different cultures, different backgrounds, different religions, different castes, different thought process, and how you are able to move away from the placement of your thoughts, moving away from the baggage that you grew up with, but enlarging your mindset to be able to serve better, is the placement when your Lagna Lord is placed in the 9th house and when it is placed in the D9 chart in your 6th house. Now, the placement of the Lagna Lord in the D9 in the Navmansh chart when it is placed in the 7th house. Now, this is a very special placement because the D9 chart, the Navmansh chart, is anyways about relationships. It's about connections. It's your ability to work with others. And this is a special placement because it is all about how through those connections you are able to cope with higher challenges in life, because sometimes the biggest challenges in the life are relationships, are those people who you meet on a day-to-day basis, and how much they push you, how much they challenge you, how much they create challenges, issues in your life, yet you are able to cope with them, yet you are able to connect with them, yet you are able to deal with them in a very positive environment, in a very nourishing environment, is this placement. So usually for such a placement of the Lagna Lord in the 7th house in the D9 chart, relationships will be prominent in your life, and through your relationships only, through your ability to form connections with others only, will you be able to achieve, and you will also be able to cope with challenges in life. The better connections you are able to make with people, the better relationships you are able to make with people, the better you will be able to cope with challenges of career, with challenges of health, with challenges of investments, with challenges of your stature. Almost everything will be connected to your ability to be able to form relationships, ability to form connections. Now, the placement of the Lagna Lord in your D1 chart, how it relates to the placement of the 7th house placement in the D9 chart will be important. If your Lagna Lord is also placed in the 7th house itself in the D1 chart, and it's also placed in the same house in the D9 chart in the 7th house, so this is a very strong manifestation of the zodiac telling you that your biggest challenges may come from relationships, but your biggest achievements also will come from relationships. How you're able to deal with people, how you're able to connect with people, how you're able to work with people in your career or in a team project or in business. So be ready and be able to understand the connection of the Lagna Lord placement in the D1 versus the D9 placement of your Lagna Lord in the 7th house. Now, the placement of the Lagna Lord in the D9 chart in your 8th house is a very, very karmic placement. Now, at a 70,000 feet level, it is saying that most of your life, the factors which will be most important for you, will be most prominent for you, will be change, your ability to deal with change, your ability to deal with obstacles, turbulations in your life, and be ready to transform yourself whenever such challenges come. So when the challenges of health come to you, how you are able to cope with it, how you are able to change the way you are dealing with health issues, your mental challenges to be able to cope with that disease, your mental strength to be able to deal with obstacles in your career or sudden events which jolt you out of your career, jolt you out of a normal life that you're leading till then. That is what the biggest challenge for you, that is the biggest question that you will have to answer. And because the 8th house is also about the deeper meaning of life, the mysteries of life, every now and then when you face challenges, it is also about what are you able to learn from how those challenges are throwing up, how you are able to understand the deeper meaning of life, and which is to help others who themselves are facing obstacles and challenges through the connections that you make. The D9 chart is more about connections, those acquaintances, those relationships that you form. So how you are able to connect with those people who you are getting connected with in your challenges, and or those themselves are facing challenges, and how you are able to connect and help them. If your work is getting connected to the 8th house, then through 8th house manifestation, through your ability to deal with people in the matters of the 8th house, for example, in matters of sudden events, ill health, hospitalization, or in research, or related to government jobs, government projects, or taxation, audit, whatever your connection, your work is, or you have to go through those issues and challenges, and these things come up in life, how you're able to connect with people, and yet you're able to understand the deeper meaning of life, or by virtue of this placement is the meaning of the Lagna Lord in the 8th house in the D9 chart. So life will be a bed of challenges every now and then. At every turn you will find new things coming up, new challenges coming up, new hurdles to cross, new obstacles to overcome. But the most important manifestation will be how you are able to connect the placement of your Lagna Lord in the D1 chart with the placement of the 8th house Lagna Lord placement in the D9. So for example, if your Lagna Lord in the D1 chart is placed in the 2nd house, but it is placed in the 8th house in the D9 chart, so which means that your livelihood, your principles and values all will go through a transformation. You will have to relook at your principles and values, or the values that you lead your life by, whenever you face challenges, whenever you run into obstacles, because those obstacles will also challenge you, challenge your principles and values, but will also put your livelihood, your income also in a turmoil on a day-to-day basis. So how you are able to cope with those challenges of income, of livelihood, and you're able to stand by your principles and values is the meaning of the connection of the Lagna Lord in the 2nd house in your D1 chart versus the 8th house placement in the D9 chart. Now the placement of the Lagna Lord in the D9 chart when it gets placed in the 9th house. So this shows that the most important factors in your life will be connected to the 9th house, and the 9th house and the areas of the 9th house will be what you will have to cope with most, what you will have to deal with most, and you will also face your biggest challenges from there, but you will also profit most from there. So most prominent in your life will be areas connected to the 9th house. So here how you are able to deal with your higher learning, which means that whenever there are issues, challenges, or any experiences in life, how you are able to get a higher learning from it, higher meaning from it, and use that to be able to get more gains in life, which the 9th house represents. This also means your ability to learn from others, and also keep an open eye to what your seniors are telling, what your gurus are telling, what elderly are telling you in your life, what the more wise are telling you in your life. So making a connection to those people who are wiser than you, making a connection to those people who know more than you, making a connection to those people who are expert in their field. So don't shy away from learning from people who are expert in your field, expert in your career, expert in your area, and through that learning, attaining success, attaining expertise yourself, and coming out through the stronger connection as a guru yourself, and through that being able to achieve. Biggest achievement will also be not only high learning from experiences, but also gains in life through those connections which you are able to form, basis where the Lagna Lord is placed in your D1 chart. So if your Lagna Lord is placed in the 9th house in your D9 chart, but say for example if it's placed in the 3rd house in your D1 chart, here it means that your highest learning will come through a self-enterprise, which is represented by the 3rd house placement of the Lagna Lord in the D1 chart. So rather than working for somebody or under somebody, you should be working for yourself. Now this is not only about forming a consulting firm by yourself or forming a business by yourself. It is about depending on yourself most, even when you're working for somebody, when you're serving others, and learning and increasing your expertise through your own efforts, and through that how you are able to communicate to form those connections, how you are able to leave an impression on others through your higher learning, through your wisdom, is the meaning of the connection between your Lagna Lord in the D1 chart and the 9th house placement of the Lagna Lord in the D9 chart. Now the 10th house placement of the Lagna Lord in your D9 chart, this is all about your karma, this is all about your actions, this is also about your kriyaman karma, what you do on a day-to-day basis, and through that karma you are able to get higher meaning, higher learning, but highest form of karma that you are able to achieve, positive karma that you are able to achieve, and the wealth of karma that you are able to achieve, besides more material wealth also. So a very karmic placement where it is saying, the zodiac is telling you that this is a placement for you to be able to achieve the best karma possible through your actions, through your kriyaman karma that you do on a day-to-day basis, and that is the best wealth for you. A better karma is the best wealth for you. If you are able to do better karma, then the material wealth will also follow. This you will be able to do best when you are able to deal with higher authorities, with those in higher power over you, connected to your work and connected to your daily life. So those people who at work are your bosses, are your supervisors, are your managers, learning from them, establishing a deeper connection with them, establishing a deeper rapport with them, and through that being able to establish or do better karma. And this is not only about seniors at work, seniors in general life also. Wherever you meet authority figures, the authority in your home could be your mother, the authority in your home could also be a spouse, even children could have some authority in your house connected to certain things. So how you are able to make a connection with them, those people who have an authority in your life, whether at work, whether in your domestic life, whether in your relationship, whether in your romantic life, and continue to do good karma, and using that good karma being able to achieve in life is this meaning. Now wherever the Lagna Lord is placed in your D1 chart, how it connects with the 10th house placement of the Lagna Lord in the D9 chart is important. So if the Lagna Lord in your D1 chart is placed, for example, in the 6th house, whereas in the D9 chart it is placed in the 10th house. So here serving others is the best karma that you can get. Serving those people who are destitute, serving even those who are competing with you or against you, and being able to achieve through overcoming that competition, yet being able to stick to good karma, positive karma, and being able to establish your own authority in due course of time is the meaning of the placement of the Lagna Lord in the 10th house when you relate it to the 6th house placement in your D1 chart. When the Lagna Lord in your D9 chart, in your Navmansh chart, is placed in the 11th house, this is a very karmic placement, because what the zodiac is telling you, that general society, giving back to society, doing more for the societal connection outside, and also to those people who you may not connect on a day-to-day basis, but who form part of your society, even the extended society or the world at large, is the factors most prominent for you. Your karma is there, your work is there, your area of focus is there, and what you'll have to deal with, what you'll have to cope with, what you will profit from will be mostly connected to the 11th house. Now because the 11th house is also an upachaya house, which works over time, which gives you results over time, so this will be a strong connection to working hard over a period of time to be able to achieve. If you are able to do that, if you are able to do more for society, if you are able to do more for your social connection, if you are able to do more for others without thinking of what you are getting in return, doing for friends, doing more for acquaintances, doing more for colleagues at work, especially working for a larger cause, working for a larger organization, working for society at large, that's what your biggest achievement will be. And those connections which you establish to be able to give back most to society, those will be very important for you, and that will be a strong part of karma. And so if you are doing more for others, if you form a strong connection to some social cause that you need to do, and if you are able to do more in that cause, then that will be the best achievement for you, and that is what the karma has a design for you. Now wherever the 11th Lord is placed, this is also about how you are able to give back without thinking of what you are getting in return. So doing more for others, doing more for society, doing more for a cause, and leaving the fruits that you get back to the zodiac, which you will get over a period of time. Now how you relate that placement of the Lagna Lord in the 11th house in the D9 chart to the Lagna Lord placement to the D1 chart or in the D1 chart is important. So if your Lagna Lord is placed, for example, in the 7th house in your D1 chart, whereas it is placed in the 11th house in your D9 chart. So this shows that your strongest connections to do more for society will be based on relationships, how you are able to partner more for others or with others, and how you are able to work with who you get connected on a day-to-day basis to be able to do more for society, to be able to give back more to society, and how you partner even to establish a business, because this is a strong connection between the 7th house which is connected to business and the 11th house which is also connected to business. So doing more for a certain industry, doing more in a certain area where you can contribute most through partnership, working in a team or on your own enterprise, or through establishing something of your own, establishing a industry, establishing a business, and through that being able to serve the larger society, is the connection between the 7th house placement of the Lagna Lord in the D1 chart with the 11th house connection in the D9 chart. So these connections you should be able to see, because these connections are very important. Now the placement of the Lagna Lord in the D9 chart in the 12th house is a very spiritual manifestation, is a very karmic manifestation. It means that the most important thing for your life, the most prominent area for you to deal with, the most important area for you to cope with and also profit from is to establish good karma for a higher spiritual elevation by doing more for others who themselves are the most secluded people, those who are the people who are most left alone, those most people don't want to do anything for. Those are the important people that you want to do something more for them. This could also mean that your karma is in a foreign country. Your karma is to do more for foreigners or do more for others who are not from your culture, not from your area of region, not from your area of birth, not from your even country, yet being able to connect with those people, because that is the next step to the hereafter, is this connection. So your biggest achievement with your Lagna Lord in the 12th house in your D9 is the achievement of spirituality, is the achievement of spiritual elevation through giving up, doing more for others. Here many a time your work may not give you the proper fruits, may not even get you a good livelihood. You may also go through a lot of challenges where your efforts are not bearing enough fruit, and sometimes even your expenses are more than what you earn. However, your biggest challenge will be how you are still able to connect to people, do more for others, do more for those people who are left alone, who nobody cares for, by doing more for charity, by doing more in donations, by working more for others and not looking at the worldly material manifestation. Because a lot of your actions, when your Lagna Lord in the 12th house placement in the D9 is pointing towards, is that your karma will be your biggest achievement rather than your material benefits. And so lot of your efforts may seem to be going to waste. However, it is only building strong karma for you. So don't hesitate, don't be disheartened when a lot of things don't manifest for you, because your Lagna Lord in your D9 chart is in the 12th house. Now where your Lagna Lord is placed in the D1 chart is very important. Now for example, if your Lagna Lord in your D1 chart is placed in the Lagna itself, whereas it is placed in the 12th house in your D9 chart, this is the strong meaning that your presence in this world, presence in this life is to do more for others, to do the best karma for spiritual elevation. It's a very strong connection to salvation itself, through moksha itself, which means you need to work most on yourself. You need to be able to do most correction to yourself to be able to do most for others, without thinking about acknowledgement, without thinking about appreciation, without thinking about material returns. If you are able to do that, then through the highest spiritual elevation, you should also be able to manifest your spiritual leanings, and through that be able to be one with the Lord itself. And this is how you should be able to see the connection between the 12th house placement of the Lagna Lord in the D9 chart with wherever your Lagna Lord is placed in the D1 chart. So friends, now that we have talked about how your Lagna Lord's placement in the D9 chart in the 12 houses can manifest itself in a different ways, which area of focus they bring to your life, what areas of coping they bring to you, where you will be able to get gains from, where you will be able to face biggest challenges from, but where you will get your biggest achievements from. do see how your Lagna Lord placement in your D9 chart is getting connected with your Lagna Lord placement in the D1 chart, and through the connection, through the synergy, be able to understand the deepest meaning of why you are in this life, what you need to do, where you need to aim from, what connections you need to make, which areas you need to focus, what you need to cope with most, what challenges you need to face most, and yet be able to profit from most as part of your spiritual elevation while being in this world. And that is how you will be able to get the most from your D9 placement of your Lagna Lord in different house. So friends, like this video, share this video, and if you're looking for a personal consultation from me, please reach out to me, the links given below. Till some other time, some other video, this is your friend astrologer and guide Irfan signing off.